Hi, good morning. This is Fred Henning from outofboxwealth.org. Hope you're having a blessed day and you and your family are doing well and everything is going good for you. And when I think of, just the thought of everything going good and everything being happy, and of course, maybe you're even experiencing a little bit of this now, in our culture. Um, again, we don't want to point the blame on anyone or accuse anyone of anything, but a lot of industries have been developed around profit, and it's because everybody has to pay the bills. Uh, One of our favorite things as energetic manifestors that we like to quickly delete and erase and remove from our energetic connection is the old phrase that I'm sure many of us grew up with is money doesn't grow on trees. And you think of things like oranges and moringa and just a lot of different things that are being called and have been called for quite some time cash crops. You'd say, well, it does, because oranges are a very, very lucrative commodity. Coffee, well, maybe coffee grows more in a bush, I'm not sure. But the truth is that when we have sayings like that, and they're used for identification, they're used as symbols that our subconscious uses to come to conclusions, to be able to identify what someone else is saying or whatever else someone is thinking. And I think a really, really cool quote is, I think it was Alan Watts who said that there's the real world, and then there's a world of symbols that we have created to represent the thoughts that we have about the real world. But the problem is that the thoughts that we have aren't necessarily the real world or the world as it truly exists. It's a projection, it's a hologram that is created, by our thoughts and by our thinking. And it's a good example of the difference is, the thoughts about ourselves are the thoughts that have developed and repeated and reoccurred about ourselves, as opposed to the true ourselves, our true self, and knowing our true self, Gnothi Seutan. It's also the difference between money and true wealth. And so when we have that type of thought process going on, and we realize that industry, just simply had to pay the bills. They had to pay the bills too, so we can't make them the bad guys. But in the same token, it doesn't matter who was, driving the car when it ran over my foot. It still hurt my foot, and here I am, with a hurt foot. So, what's going to be done about it? And so what happens is that with the industry of entertainment, we have a lot of, just a lot of programming, a lot of things and conclusions or influences that we've come to based on entertainment. And entertainment became popular foremost by drama and dramatic situations. And I think now some of the most recent statistics that I listen to is like, I think this might have been somebody in the dark ages or a little bit after, but even in that time, which we can associate with negativity, even people living during that era, in their whole lifetime, never had to deal with the amount of horror and stress that we are presented with, visually or in the form of entertainment or through news. I'm pretty sure it was like a day. So the understanding is like we are receiving, just more stressful, anxious input in a day than past generations did even in a lifetime. And so that's where we find ourselves. And so when I started out saying, I hope everything's going good for you and you're experiencing good, You know, there's just this influence that's saying to us, you know, it's when everything's going good, get ready or brace yourself because something bad is going to happen. And I think it's the tendency that, you know, some of us have taken from, you know, our entertainment because, you know, well, you tell me if you're watching a movie and there's this guy and he's all happy and everything's going good. Maybe he's driving a tractor in from the field and, you know, he just had a nice day out in his field and, you know, he's coming in and, you know, he meets his wife and maybe his wife's waiting at the path, you know, with a glass of freshly squeezed lemonade and the, you know, little son and daughter is there and the guy comes and, you know, they all embrace and they're all arm in arm, hand in hand, and they go into the house and everything's wonderful. What's going to happen next? See, our programming is, you know, for some of us, not everybody, but is that, you know, when everything's good, you know, something bad's going to happen. Something's going to go wrong. And I think that comes to us, you know, through entertainment. Again, because, you know, over the years, you know, entertainment had to be more dramatic because, again, they had to pay the bills. So they had to create, you know, all this drama. And I guess it's, you know, not a new thing. It's ancient. You think of Romeo and Juliet and, you know, their tragic end. You know, so this type of influence has been around the teaching of the, and the myths of the gods. And, of course, you know, there's always the teaching that the gods are just toying with mankind. You know, they're just playing with us like playthings. One day they'll come and bless you, and the next day they'll come and totally wreck your whole world. You know, like Job. And so some people had that understanding, you know, of Yahweh or the Creator. You know, whatever name you're most comfortable for, the parental being that lovingly created us. And so it's the understanding of goodness. It's the understanding of, you know, what really is goodness. It's the expectancy of what comes after goodness. Hey, what's wrong with more goodness coming after goodness? Nothing wrong with that, right? You know, we can experience that. And so we find that, you know, some of the programming that we have, you know, can be, you know, anti our own best good, you know, and thus the understanding of self-sabotage, thus the understanding of, you know, our own subconscious programs through any type of negative experience that has caused us to believe or expect that once we have a certain set of circumstances in our life, it's going to be a certain result that we'll experience after that. And of course, you know, that's good. It's good when we have good habits and when we have, you know, good expectancy in our subconscious, but you know, there's placebo, nocebo. You know, whatever we expect, whether it be positive or negative, you know, that's what we're going to manifest. And so we can start to take inventory. We can start to take a little bit of a energetic examination of ourselves. Genothi Seutan, know yourself, look at yourself, observe yourself, see what it is, you know, you're truly believing. I know personally, you know, I was watching recently different types of shows and energetic teaching, and it's really kind of interesting at times when you start to, you know, see older teaching, ancient teaching, some of the things that were only taught in mystery schools, and you look at it in your life, and you give your life the opportunity to confirm these things. In other words, you're giving your life the opportunity to speak the same message but through a different source. So if you know, we're trying to you know, have an understanding of you know, healing our inner self, you know, achieving inner peace, healing the inner child, you know, what happens next? I mean, what do we come across? And for me personally, you know, speaking of dramatic entertainment, I was watching a show called Alone, and which is a survival show, and it's pretty interesting that you know, everybody reaches, you know, an emotional point, and of course I'm sure that has to do with you know, the calories that they're not experiencing anymore. The body goes into a fasting state, as well as starting to eliminate toxins from the body and, start to detox. There's also an ancient practice that is known in, many different traditions. And in this practice, you separate yourself, you go off on your own. Some traditions call it a vision quest, but you go off, by yourself in Mother Nature and fast, go on a water fast for 3 days. And the water fasting in combination, with the connection, to Earth, to Mother Earth. And, the understanding is that Mother Earth, loves all of her children and wants to heal us all. And so what happens is that a lot of times when we have a connection, with Mother Earth, we end up, in some type of circumstance where we remember something, that happened to us in our childhood, something that may have been uncomfortable. And we're trying to, understand, well, hey, what's this all about? But it does look, I've experienced it myself when I started doing Wim Hof breathing, out here, out in Mother Nature, and sitting, on the earth, sitting on a rock and having that complete connection, to Mother Earth. That's happened to me. I started experiencing things that happened in my childhood that I haven't thought of for, I can't even remember the last time I thought of it. But I was able to, take an energetic look at those things and just realize that, yeah, they do have effect. They are influencing, me now, even though they happened many, many years ago, decades ago. And so what happens is that when we recognize the understanding of goodness, when we start to envision ourselves, have a vision of ourselves in goodness, and then recognize anything that would seek to be in opposition of our goodness or any expectancy, and then find out where that came from. Take a look where that came from, and then we can just accept it. We don't have to judge it as right, wrong, bad, good, indifferent. Just recognize that it is. Another helpful teaching of the ancients is the understanding of a noble friend. And a noble friend, isn't your buddy the king or the queen. It's somebody that quite honestly rubs you the wrong way, or somebody who has hurt you in life, or somebody that has offended you in life. And even just the thought of their name, kind of like ruffles your feathers a little bit, or brings up an unpleasant memory. But the understanding that they are noble friends because their influence caused us to become aware of something in ourselves, that was an irritation. It's like finding a splinter, and removing it. You realize that's there, or maybe even to the next level, like Morpheus said to Neo. It's like a splinter in your mind. It's there, but you can't find it. And so when we come to this type of understanding and this type of recognition, and again, we get to the place of non-judgment, and we get to the place where we are not allowing ourselves any kind of victim mentality, which is so disempowering right from step one. And we start to look at things. Another really, really good mindset is looking at life, through the idea of a watcher and a gatekeeper. And we can kind of become aware of this when we think of our thoughts. Well, think of your thoughts. What's the next thought that you are going to think? Well, you can't know that unless you choose it, or unless you have some type of association. So, you recognize that, wait a minute, you're not your thoughts. So what is it, or who is it that is observing your thoughts? Who is it that is observing your body? Who is it that is observing the experience that you are experiencing through the body in the materialized world? And we can call that person, your spirit, that entity, your spirit, and that your spirit is a watcher, watching over everything that the body is experiencing. And also, you can call yourself the gatekeeper. And the gatekeeper, you as the gatekeeper, you have the right to only allow things into you personally that are beneficial, that are helpful, that are positive. And so first thing, as the watcher and the gatekeeper, we can sweep the house, we can take care of anything in our being that is dusty, that is old, that we're not using, and that really has no value. We can sweep the house, and like the parable, in sweeping the house, maybe we'll find some gold coins laying around there. Maybe we'll find some better alternatives. Maybe we'll find something that is really precious and that is really of value, and get all the dust out of the way, get all of the unwanted garbage out of the way, get all of the unwanted noise out of the way, get all of the unwanted influence out of the way. And when we do that, as the watcher and the gatekeeper, once we have everything that is not helpful and that is not beneficial, that is not ease out of the way, what we can do is we can start taking a better inventory, or maybe not just taking a better inventory, we could say that, because that's already done when we swept everything clean, but being a better watcher and being a better gatekeeper. And when we watch and we recognize and we identify something as toxic or parasitic, trying to enter into our sacred place, our sacred space, our sacred us, who we are, as the gatekeeper, we deny it access. We said, no parasites, no toxins. This is a clean house. And this is a positive house. This is a happy house. This is a joyful house. This is a loving house. This is an abundant house. And when we do that and we start to identify all of those things, all of those positive things, and only positive things, with the idea of good, and that the idea that the thing that happens after good is more goodness. It's more goodness, it's more positive experience, it's more health, it's more wealth, it's more accumulation of the things that are good, pure, perfect, clean, loving, kind, the things that are ease, the things that are joyful, the things that are peaceful, and that we can set up as the gatekeeper. We can set up a path, we can set up a highway, we can set up a water system, we can set up a stream, we can set up a harbor that is it's governed by a lighthouse. And that lighthouse is a light that not only shines light to direct what it is that we desire to the place that we are, but also shines light onto everything that is coming into our existence. That there can be an existence of let there be light in all of our experience, in all of our life, in all of our being, in all of who we are. That the proclamation, let there be light, is a proclamation to who I am as a light being, as an energetic being, as a spirit that has a soul living in the body. When Yeshua took his disciples to the mountaintop and brought them with him, and there appeared, Moshe, and Eliah, and I guess that happened after, he transformed into a light being. I believe that everything that Yeshua did is an example for us. I believe that he came and he showed us, who we can be, in this earth experience. And so we know that becoming light, that we already are light, and we already have a connection with light, and that we already have a healthy connection with our own physical sun, and the connection that it connects with other suns, other galaxies, other universes even, and that even the planetary, energetic connection that happens, in our system, in the system of Earth and our solar system, that the connection of energy and the energetic realization of who we are as energetic beings, gives us all the power and all the strength and all the authority that we need as the watcher and the gatekeeper to be a proclaimer, to be an author over our own script, so that our own script is telling a story that is a story that ends with happily ever after. And our happily ever after comes to us each and every single day. World without end. Amen. And so I just want to thank you for, this time of sharing and this time of being together. Love, blessing, peace, shalom unto you and your family in ever increasing exponential existence. Ganothi Seutan. Shalom. Namaste.